what happened was in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a lot of capital improvements. We've been really lucky in terms of New York State grant funding, thanks to this one right here. Right? And as a result, we got a new roof, new entrance, right? Shed. Well, the shed's been here for a while. That's true. And then, thanks to Larry O'Brien, who's hiding in the background over there, we've had someone who's become like the... Wait. The fact is, we finally had someone who's willing to put up with us, because, we can pontificate and, be academics, but who's going to do the real work, right? That's what it is like this. And thank God for Larry, because he's really taken this project on. First thing was to just restore the columns, which nobody thought was possible, and now he's been working on the exterior trim. So it's really come a long way. And of course, the reason we wanted to have the garden was that we've done all this work, but the front yard still didn't look too good. So with the idea that Paul and Mary Ann retiring from the board, we thought, there's the excuse we're looking for, right? And as you can see, it's turned out really nice. I don't know how many of you remember what this place looked like before, but this is a huge improvement. And first I want to do is to thank the folks who made this possible. The donations that came in were really spectacular. It's over $4,000. And it's just amazing. And it's a real testament to these ladies right here, because obviously they've got a lot of friends. And then came all the volunteer work, the number of people who helped out and helped get this thing going. And the board, okay. As the landscape designer. And she had a very willing partner who was in there through thick and thin, Mary McGowan. So they were like the garden ladies who really ran everything. And it's really worked out well. They put a huge amount of their own personal time and care. They bought, they found, they bought, and helped install just about everything you see here except for walls. That's the only thing that's still original. And it gets some of the spiration. That was about it. Right. And of course the big thing was getting the dogwood, which is dedicated specifically to Paula Medley, because she and then from there we're going to go to Bill Shamrow. He's, the landscaping guy who went way beyond, anything we asked to do that was in the scope of the project. I mean, he and his truck were up and down this road all the time, checking on things, making sure things got done. He was very careful. He just allowed the tarps to come off the sidewalk about an hour and a half ago, something like that.
That's why it rained.
And it was just amazing, because every time you come by here, you have to wince, knowing that somebody is going to flag him down. Oh, could you do us one more favor? So to say the least, he put an easy 2 or 3 times, the effort that was, that we normally would expect in terms of doing the landscape, and we were very, very thankful to him. And of course, then after that, we still have to say something about Larry O'Brien, because Larry's the one who did the bridge, and it's turned out really nice. And Mary Ann will talk about that a little later when she gets a chance, if I give her a chance.
It doesn't look like
Tell me about it. And the other person who's not here is J.P. Lafarge. And yes, I mean, the fact is, he has been a real, as much as Billy has, a real partner to the library in terms of, being the Mr. Fix-It, taking care of a lot of stuff that's been going on around here. He built the stone walls around the parking lot, and he's done a lot of stuff for it that doesn't get mentioned very often. And I just think that he needs his recognition as well. So I just want to thank JP, and I hope you all do the same thing. Oh, we should talk about the bench. Peter Harrison, that's the Bluebird's son. You probably know who he is, better than I do, actually. He did the bench for us, this one right here, and he actually donated a lot of extra time and effort into it, well beyond what we were expected to pay for the bench, and we're very appreciative. Then we got to get to the reason why this whole garden here is here in the first place. Okay, buck up, girls. Paula Medley, activist extraordinaire. As board member, initiated several fundraising projects for the library, like the supermarket sweep, the Rake-It-In raffle, and the monumental Cragsmoor Cooks, who's, because of that project in September of a couple of years ago, has got me a new, very good friend. Michael, happy about it. First time I met him, we were at the Southern Prior House, and we're going to go through this routine. What are we going to do for Cragsmoor Cooks? And he says, you see those things going in the pond over there? You can eat those things. I said, no, here's the food. I got to get to know this. And we've been good friends since. Thank you, Paul. Paul was also present in the driving force to the Cragsmoor Association during the 80s and 90s. She helped negotiate the restrictions on the Bear Hill property. She worked on the, for the wind farms. And I hear this thing about Central Hudson going to put power lines across the top of the mountain. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, well, actually Melvin was the driving force behind that, getting us going and dealing with that.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that. And then the other thing,